Working day and night. We always working day and night.
Go. Keep
I
going.
don't know the rest of the lyrics.
You just made up the song.
I did work.
I had to work. Welcome to the O.U.C.H, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Doyle?
I am fantastic. It has been a great day, even though the weather hasn't been perfect today. It was a little rainy this morning, but you know what? I had a great day so far.
Good to know. George? Crickets. Enrique? And no Enrique either. Okay, who do we have to fill in for today? Do you have anybody?
We have a special guest, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
The master of disaster.
Sit back in your seats and prepare your listening talents for the one, the only,
Jerry.
Great intro.
Yay,
Jerry.
I'm Jerry.
Welcome to the show, Jerry.
I'm
Say a
Jerry.
little bit about yourself.
Let's see. Well, I used to work with Jason, like everybody. Let's in that one there. I'm 36 years old. I got one kid. I'm married for 5 years. We have our 10th dating anniversary coming up.
Oh,
Weird
congratulations.
Hey.
He likes long walks on the beach.
I love long walks on the beach, especially sunset.
He said long.
At least they were not dark walks. They were still at sunset.
What you mean dark?
What you mean,
Oh, wait.
dark?
There you go.
I can still see behind me.
You got to summon your 70s black man.
I don't have
when
that
you
in
say
me.
that.
I have
what
the-
you mean, jive turkey?
All I have is a 70s gay guy. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's all I have.
Do you have an 80s
what
gay
you
guy?
guys want.
That's all it is.
It is Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
That
So,
experience again.
Jerry, how do you and Doyle know each other?
So we know Doors slightly. I was there worked with Doyle for like over 2 years. We
Okay.
became pretty close. We bonded over wrestling mostly.
Oh, by the way, I gotta say, rest in peace, Iron Sheik.
Iron
For
Sheik.
the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he died today.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Him, Hogan.
yeah.
Man,
Have you guys seen his Twitter?
Oh, it's probably crazy.
It's fucking great.
I have
All it
not.
says is things like he has a post, like one of his last posts was, "Fuck Hogan." That's
Yeah.
it. Nothing else.
Yeah. So one of the things I loved about the Sheik is he didn't pull no punches.
No.
He said it like it is, and he would tell you if he didn't like you, and he was not shy. One of the very few things in life that we get to enjoy is a very politically incorrect person, and that is the Iron Sheik to a
Yeah,
T.
100%.
absolutely. I like to follow in his footsteps a little bit if I could.
By all
in
means,
the,
go on.
Political correctness, just not following that, but
Use something as an example.
shit.
The best one.
Take that.
Let me see. Let me pull up some of Iron Sheik's last. Let me see. He says, "Fuck the wildfires." 23 hours ago, he said. And then on June 6th, he wrote, "Whoever let the dogs out can go fuck yourself." In all capitals.
I wonder if he was a cat person though.
You know what? I bet no one ever thought of that when they read that tweet.
Desperado, why don't you come to your senses, you dumb son of a bitch? All capitals.
He did yell a lot, so you know.
Yeah,
when
fucking bullshit.
Yeah, if you ever listen to the Sheik in an interview, it was very rarely ever like monotone or like mellow. It was always at the top of his lungs. So for him to tweet in all caps is so like apropos.
It's on label. It's on point. Yeah, look at this one.
100% balls to the wall.
Listen to this one.
All the time.
Fuck dancing with your eyes closed. What the fuck? I don't know, but anyway, yeah, he always sold his work. You know, he always sold the bad guy persona. He always was like good at his job.
He was a very good heel all the time. I mean,
Always.
ultimately, he's up there. I would say top 5 for me at least, just because of him and Hogan and the love I have for Hogan is ridiculous, especially from when I was younger.
Yeah.
I would cry when he would lose. I remember watching, like I was young. I remember watching him lose to the Giant.
Yeah.
I was
WrestleMania 3, right?
just my bawling. I remember bawling and my parents trying to console me.
Balling.
Different kind of bawling. But we'll take it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, he always committed to his job. I can't commit to mine.
Seriously,
Oh,
if he tweeted like 23 hours ago, F Hulk Hogan, and that was like his all-time rival, of course that man is committed to the gimmick.
He's committed as hell, dude. He knows his job, dude.
He is down for the company no matter
I wish
what.
I was a wrestler.
I don't. They have to do cardio.
Oh, never mind.
A lot of it.
The level of a commitment for that job, I'd never had.
Nah.
Ever.
I don't have commitment for my current job. Why would I have one for that one?
Speaking of jobs,
No, I'm not giving you a blowjob.
not Steve.
Oh.
I heard about experience. Someone said get closer to the microphone. What was that, Jason?
I mean, when you're close, you're close. You know. Oh God, you're gonna do this all month, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, fair. Whatever.
And then when it's Catholic month, I'll do it again because it's still apropos.
It's Catholic.
I just hope you're taking pride in doing that this month.
Did you say Catholic month?
Catholic priest
Oh,
month.
Catholic.
Catholic. Caterlic. Anyway, yeah, speaking of jobs, what about jobs?
First of all, actually, I do want to point out that I know that normally we don't do this, but George and Enrique are on the way. So when they come in, you guys, we are going to give them so much crap for being late.
What George and Enrique don't know is they're about to get fired. Let's watch as they find
This
out.
is going to be great. Shh. They're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, Jer, you're in.
They have no commitment.
You're a minority hire.
You know what? You brought me in to do the hard work. I understand this.
So you just have to be there and be like HR, okay? You give them the exit exam.
You guys can be good.
We
cop.
have an HR.
It's Jer.
If I'm in charge of HR, you guys got problems.
You have no idea.
I'm just saying
You
that
have
right
no
now.
idea.
And especially if you are playing Def Leppard at your desk, you are screwed.
Def Leppard sucks, boy.
Oh, shit. Do you want to get rocked?
You
Look at him with angry eyes.
You gonna cry?
Let's
You got some
get,
French- you got
let's
some-
get rocked.
Oh man.
Def
What,
Leppard
you hate
sucks
Def Leppard?
even more now. Only because of Joe Dirt.
Oh, okay.
Only
You gonna
reason.
cry?
You
You want
gonna
some
cry?
French fries? Go with that Whamburger, boy. Def
Kid.
Leppard sucks.
Not the biggest fan of the movie, but that scene
That
will be
lie.
with me forever.
That lie.
I haven't seen the movie in years, man.
Oh man,
man.
that just go back and watch that clip. That part of the movie carries.
I will.
Speaking of movies, Jason says I live my life based off of what was it, Happy Gilmore, golf and hockey.
That's right.
Really? Okay, elaborate. I need to know. What do you mean?
I golf as often as I get permission from my wife to golf.
But you get angry and start fighting Bob Barker, or
Absolutely. If one of my buddies I'm with,
Shooter McGavin.
they're getting a 9-iron across the forehead.
oh wow. But okay, so you guys worked together before, but you
Hey,
guys don't
wait.
work together no more.
Wait, hold up.
What?
If
I got
he's-
fired.
If he's
Huh?
I
Happy
just had to throw that
Gilmore,
out there.
Hold on.
that makes me Chubbs.
It's all in the hips, dude.
Oh crap!
Just look at the hat.
Just tap it in. Just tap it in.
That sounds so wrong coming from you, dude. Seriously. But you got fired, Jer? Why? What happened?
They said
Did you make a window instead of a door?
I tried multiple times. Multiple times.
This door's too solid.
What did he say? You know what? He said it was my performance and this and that, but
Translation: you just rubbed the
Ultimately-
wrong guy.
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to rub as many guys. as I
Not that
could, but-
performance.
Oh.
See, Jason knows about that performance. Anyway,
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Happy Pride Month. No, but all kidding aside, no, I totally understand because sometimes it's a clash of egos between two different bosses, like, or you and the boss. I had the same issue with an old ex-friend at, you want to say where?
Not really, because I don't want to. Yeah, screw them. I don't want to say which company because I don't want to give them the free promotion.
Exactly, but they were a shitty company that I worked for about 5 years ago who
They
were
had a crappy boss.
a lot of nepotism, a lot of bullshit. And they basically, I told the owner, which was my ex-friend, that his pay was fucking shitty as fuck. It was the worst paid job I've ever had in my career, and he took offense. And I even told him I had headhunters after me, giving me more money. I was being blunt, having a private conversation with me, and then he fired me.
Wow.
Because of that.
Wow.
Because I told him the truth.
For the record, he fired me too, but I missed the delivery, and it was a pretty big delivery. But in my defense, I was told at like the last second, and then they got mad at me for kind of like missing the delivery, and I did my best.
Well, to be honest, there were other issues before that.
Sounds like they needed a scapegoat.
Yeah, but that was a total that was a cop out.
Yeah, it was. It was a cop out. But I mean, like, you know. Oh, here comes Enrique. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Enrique into the studio.
I can't say that I'm 100% innocent. It's not as though I wasn't looking for jobs or having my resume out there.
Fair.
He doesn't know what's going on. He's coming in. He's closing the door. He closes it quietly so it doesn't make noise. He's pulling out his chair. He's dusting it off. He puts his big drink down. Gets the headphones. He's inspecting the headphones for lice. He puts them on. He opens the mic. And...
riveting stuff, man.
Enrique's in the house!
Riveting stuff. I was gripped. I wanted to see where that was going. Best, 5 seconds of air.
We'll never get back. Yeah, good times. Thanks for joining us.
I guarantee our audience has spent 5 minutes doing way better stuff than...
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guaranteed.
What about on the clock? Have you guys done anything better in 5 minutes on the clock?
Take a shit.
Yeah.
While working? I mean, obviously.
Take a shit.
That's a given. We got
a big staller. No, actually, I can't. Fun fact about me, I have this weird mental thing. I can't go to the bathroom outside my own home.
That's so strange. My son is the same way.
Yeah, I can't. I can piss. I just can't shit. Enrique, meet Jer, Enrique.
Nice to meet you, man.
Is it like a mental thing where
it's a mental thing? It's so bad that it's like this. Okay,
what if
so
we
I live in
your office toilet like your
to look
home?
like my mom's.
Yeah.
Then maybe I would, but no, it's not like it's so bad that like at my mom's house, if I go visit, I can't take a shit there. I have to go home to take a shit.
I hope you don't live far away.
Well, from here, it's right around the corner.
From your mom's.
Is that why
from
you
my
were-
mom? She lives in Downey. I live in Whittier.
Is that why you're always in such a rush to go home?
Yes.
Ah.
So wait a minute. If like okay,
Don't
so
give this man coffee.
I saw you got the memo.
Polo or blue polar.
Blue polos.
I got my
Black and black.
There you go. Yeah. So okay.
What you mean, black?
In these trying times, Doyle.
I mean, I gotta represent for the offended.
Black polos matter.
Black polos matter.
Wow. Well, can you take my last name off of this so I can't be traced back to this podcast?
No dice.
Damn.
It's too late.
The views of
We've
Angel are the views of
so
Enrique.
many more racist things, and we will say so many more in this episode. Just give us time.
Oh man.
So today's topic, let me fill you in, is we're anti-work.
Anti-work.
Okay.
Boo jobs.
So we're
Boo
talking
jobs.
about all the shitty jobs that we've
Back to
had,
the pile.
all the crappy stuff, all the things we got fired from, Jerry, and anything in between. So do you have any stories you want to fill us in on a story that you really don't like? Like you worked at Burger King?
Have you ever been
Blockbuster?
fired?
Have I been fired?
Yeah.
No. I've
He's
always
special.
been. I've always been. Yeah, I've always been very good at what I do, and I want to work and make money. You know what? The closest I came to
shut
being
up.
fired is when I was transferred to from one Blockbuster to another because the manager didn't like that I was actually doing a better job than they were. I mean, I know that sounds like a braggart thing, and a lot of people say shit like that, where like they'll be like, "Well, that manager doesn't like me because I do." What it really was that the district manager like really liked me. And whenever they'd come in, you know, they would always come in when I was working. And so naturally, like, conversations would go towards me. And so what ended up happening, eventually the manager's like, well, you know, he is like, he can do better at some other place. And when I spoke with his girlfriend who worked there, she said, yeah, he didn't want you there because you were upstaging him. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. Anyways, I ended up getting transferred from the one here that used to be in Whittier Boulevard, right next to the In-N-Out. Okay. I got transferred from that one all the way to the Bellflower one, and that one actually turned out to be a better store. So,
Oh, nice.
Kalukale, good day.
Hooray.
Doyle, besides he who should not be mentioned, any other jobs you got fired from?
Let me think. Yeah, I got fired from Starbucks years ago. I called out for the Super Bowl because my team was in it and they lost, and I got fired. But they invited me back. They called me back and told me to come back. But at that point, I had already discovered that I could get paid way more to do way less. And so I was like, nah, I'm good.
And that's how he was welcome to the world of gigolos.
So you guys didn't. The problem is you guys got caught in whatever you guys were doing, like being either like not carrying, being lazy. See, I didn't get caught. I did some shit that I should have gotten fired and probably even prosecuted for at works. Okay, I mean, what's the statute of limitations?
That part. Let's hear that part. What are those?
No, Enrique.
let me just say that I didn't get caught, and
Enrique, that's enough. That's enough. The views of Enrique are not the crimes of the Outcast.
Working in construction, naturally you get fired, laid off all the time.
Oh yeah. Projects over, everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's politics, all that sort of stuff. But I also worked at Starbucks like Doyle. But instead of getting fired like he did, I just stopped showing up one day.
Fair enough.
He fired himself.
That's actually a good point. I was a contractor with when I was working IT before I became a teacher. I was working for Farmers Insurance. I was in the IT department there, and I was working by way of a company called JBA. And usually if there's work in other departments, they'll just transfer you to those departments. But this one guy, man, this guy was interesting. He was like the Rain Man in the sense that he looked at the world very in a very kind of in a narrow corridor. He didn't like the way I did things, and so my contract naturally ended, and they just didn't pick it up. And so, I mean, technically, I guess maybe you can say that I was fired. I don't know, but my contract did end.
No. Your services were no longer needed.
That's right.
That's what it is. Your services no longer needed.
Yeah, but the build up to it was great. I got all the emails hey, bring your Excel sheets and let's look over what you've been doing. And when they start to
itemize everything.
Yes, let's check your hours. What are you doing from this time to this time? Everything was accounted for, but no, I knew my days were numbered.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Has anybody ever had one of those "F you fired" moments, where you walked out like a G, and you were like, you know what, this job, I don't need this mother. No,
you're cool.
You're cool.
You suck.
How come you guys are not saying fuck? That's kind of weird.
You know what?
I try to censor myself all the time, so it's not weird for me.
Almost,
no, that's true.
Almost had that moment. It was drafting for a staging company. They would do all the events and stuff that come around for whatever convention center or whatever was going on. One of the screens I was using, or the only screen I was using, was old, and it was just a fuzzy image messing with my eyes. So I asked the owner for a new one. She told me to bring my own, and I quit. I packed up my stuff and just left after that.
Bring your own. Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I had someone petty like that. This fucking con man named Michael Resk. I'll name him out. That dude.
Name drop.
He's not here. He got fucking scuttled away from California to Texas. He was a complete con man.
Was
dude.
it a nice thing?
A nice thing? No.
Oh.
It was just a tool.
Oh, okay.
So this guy tried to act. Let me put it this way: on our first couple of meetings when we were barely building the company, dude, he walks into the room and he addressed us all with, "What's up, bitches?"
Yeah.
I don't even know him like that. It's not even. We're not even
We're not on that term yet.
Yeah. I don't know this dude, so what the fuck?
Introduction meeting. Hey,
yeah.
F you.
Yeah. And then there was a
I'm
guy.
still trying to be professional here, dick.
There was a guy. I know, you fucking dick. No, there was another guy. There was another guy working there who was a receptionist. I forget his name. Dick. And this dude fell and broke his coccyx, right? So Resk was going around the whole time telling everybody
he broke his coccyx.
His coccyx, yeah.
All 6 of them?
All 6 of them. He broke it and then coccyx. And then
what a dick.
So Resk was going around the office going, "Can you believe it? Gavin broke his ass. Gavin broke his ass." Just telling everyone when the guy wanted to keep it private. So when he came back from the hospital, he's like, "Hey, I quit. You're unprofessional, this and that." I'm like, "Oh, whatever." But yeah, it's always been some kind of fucking crazy nut jobs, especially in construction. You always get the weirdest tweakers in construction.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Construction
it's one of the few jobs that you don't necessarily have to be background checked to do. And so people get out of jail and go straight from meth to the construction field.
That's messed up.
yeah.
Who says they stop?
I know. I do it. Have you seen some of the demolition people?
That's how they get the work done.
Yeah, under mandates. Wow.
They smoke meth all night.
We
show up
saved
to work
we
in the
saved
morning.
12 man days. How?
Oh, that's
Where's
funny.
Johnny?
That's not OSHA
He's on
approved
break
over there.
again.
He's on break again. Fuck, that guy takes a lot of breaks.
No, like my new job, I had to go get the OSHA 30. Like I had to go and like make sure I'm doing stuff safe. Like there's a lot of places out there that just don't give a shit.
Oh, for sure.
And it puts a lot of people in danger, and it's
Oh.
really it's sad to see. I mean, ultimately, it's penny pinching by the companies kind
Yeah.
of thing, when they could spend $1 and make a little bit more, but it
But they
is
don't.
what it is.
Yeah.
And you have to watch out for yourself in those situations. But luckily now there's organizations and everything else that keep people safe and you know kind of regulate what's going on job sites. Because growing up, I mean, my dad he's a lather and he was in construction for a long time.
Yeah.
I would be on job sites 5-6 years old. I remember like just running around. Like I'm sure there was all sorts of ill shit happening, you know, on the job site. Definitely not OSHA approved.
So are you
No
union
hard
or
hat.
are you union or non-union?
Currently, I am non-union.
Are you pro-union or not pro?
It depends on the union.
Yeah, 100%.
Ultimately, I mean, I've seen some unions out there that don't even seem like unions anymore, and if they were to picket on construction sites, like the other trades won't respect it,
Yeah.
and the other trades will.
So,
continue
question
to
for
work.
you guys. Let me start with you, Enrique. Question for you guys: have you guys ever worked at the corporate level,
Yes.
Depends on the corporate level.
mean,
but yeah.
like higher upper echelon, maybe Fortune 500 type corporation, like just a corporate level, like a big
yeah.
corporate,
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I mean,
like Blockbuster, I guess counts.
North Star is
Oh,
a big
okay.
corporation.
Starbucks.
National
Starbucks
corporation.
counts, yeah. The reason I ask is because, like, do you prefer mom and pop shops or corporations?
It depends.
Right,
It depends
yeah.
because sometimes, like, it depends on the corporation and on the branch itself. Because at the branch that I was of that company that I mentioned earlier, I was a small wheel in a big machine, and it was basically I got lost, and I kept asking questions. No one knew what was going on, and it was kind of like every man for themselves. And it was they were a conglomeration of different companies that had gotten bought out. So there was some people that was from one company that they had their own clique. There was some people from another company, and I came in as a newbie, not knowing anybody, so I was the odd man out. So when time came when this big corporation started, bleeding money, who's first hired, first fired. So I got laid off because they were like, well,
I know
have
all
no
about
clicks or
that.
nothing yet.
That's
Yeah, no
I mean,
clicks, nothing.
That's a natural business thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New guy, bottom of the totem pole. You're out.
Yeah,
here
you're out.
first.
So
And-
that happened to me there.
I mean, I've seen companies, very successful companies, where there's one dude running the whole thing, and I've seen very successful companies where they have partnerships and multiple partners within a group and everything else. I've also seen the exact opposites on both sides, where
Right.
it's just disastrous and it's horrible.
Now, I have also been with small companies where it's like you can't get shit done because there's not enough hands to do it. You have to wear like 4 or 5 hats. You ask for simple things and they can't get done because they just don't. It's not feasible for them because they don't have the experience, or they don't have the manpower, or they don't have the wills to actually get it done.
Right.
Case in point, like if I have a big project and I need to, in my head, I'm used to having generators on site because that's what we have in demolition. We have tons of generators, but some of the smaller companies, I don't, I forget that they don't have that, so I don't take that into account. So when the job stops, they're like, "Where's the generator?" I'm like, "What do you mean? You have the generator?" No, we don't. So it's now they have to go out and buy one. That's a cost that I have to incur, and it's kind of like that shouldn't be. I mean, it's pretty standard to have a generator, but I understand some smaller companies don't have that, capacity.
Yeah, because I've seen it to where, even on the last place I was at with Jason, like, they were
Who?
penny pen.
Who's Jason?
Who's Jason?
That's
the guy with the Fabio guy.
That
Remember?
Fabio guy. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
Those guys are losers.
I
Yeah.
He's a douche.
I heard
Yeah.
it's like Noob Saibot. Have you ever heard of that guy?
Yeah, I play Mortal Kombat.
Get over here.
But yeah, I'm sorry. it's a running gag.
Right.
But go on.
So it's I totally forgot where I was going. over
Sorry
this.
about that.
Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry,
Yeah, I think it's an underlying like like it's a game we play where once we lose our train of thought, if we can get somebody else to do it, we just like Squid Squad.
Squid Squad.
Squid Squad.
All
Squid
the
Squad.
time.
It goes in all the time.
Yeah, I always go for the mom and pop shop because I like to think for myself, and I like to go to a company that like lets me kind of have a little bit of freedom. And I always felt like at the corporate level, it was like whoever drank the Kool-Aid or like kissed the most butt that got promoted.
You remember?
Yeah,
Nightmares.
yeah, and I'm not a fan of doing that.
I'm not either.
And so like I've always been.
I'm not
fan.
a fan of mandatory fun. Like like you have to get together the weekends. It's like, no, dude, you don't pay me enough to spend my days
forget
off
that.
to hang out with you. Remember the old company where they used to do outings to Vegas,
Yes.
like for just the men? It's like
I never
it's like
went.
I never went either.
Yeah, screw them.
That's a little creepy.
Dude, I used to get in trouble for that because I would not go. But I'm like, dude, I'm a married man. I have kids. I'm a family man.
Right. I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna drop what I'm doing to fucking go to Vegas to go party and get drunk with your ass. So somebody is like, you don't pay me enough to want to hang out on my time off with your ass.
Right.
You're a colleague. You're not my buddy.
And it's wild because I mean, once you feel appreciated and you see almost like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Like once you see and feel all of those things, you're like, it's crazy. Like I feel almost refreshed with the position that I found.
Yeah.
And the fortunate, how fortunate I am to have that opportunity. Everything else.
100%.
Do you have a fortune?
So,
Owe me $5.
Soon.
500, only
Soon.
500. But it's like, okay, so if I'm taken care of, I feel more inclined to do my job better.
Right.
So it's only going to make my performance better, and ultimately it's going to make the company more money.
Right.
And that's how a lot of business owners don't see things.
No.
They see it as, I'm going to save $1 here, save $1 there, and it just kind of runs the business into this place where it just becomes like
Work.
mundane.
That's
to
just
do
a job.
Anything there.
I think we talked about that a little bit on the last episode.
Yeah,
when
we did.
we were discussing, Chick-fil-A and stuff like that. So if you haven't heard it, go back and check out the last episode.
We talked about In-N-Out's higher
What was it?
rate. Higher In-N-Out pays higher even back in the days when Enrique was in Burger King.
No, McDonald's.
McDonald's, I'm sorry.
That episode and that conversation
Perdón,
is
sorry,
a part is a part of Bezos my balls. So make sure you go back and check that out.
Professionals. Hey,
Tap on that a little bit. My buddy has 4 kids, and he opened one of the stores in Texas for In-N-Out.
Oh, really?
And he's able to live, like his family's taken care of and everything else.
Yeah.
And
We'll talk after. No, I'm kidding.
you're ready to jump ship.
I think
The
right
Outcast is moving to Texas, guys.
Yeah.
that's an example of one of those, a fast food company who's doing things, a certain way and enabling their employees to, want to work better and, move up, and there's potential to move up.
Yeah.
A lot of places you don't have that. Like you're just stuck there on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
True. Do you guys still get nervous during an interview?
Not anymore.
Absolutely not.
That's hilarious. Neither do I.
I do.
You do?
I do. It just depends, because I mean, as a teacher, like the interview process is probably different from what you guys do. For me, I have to present like lesson plans. I have to, like for example, LAUSD, they have a really ridiculous process where they'll take your resume, they'll interview you, but then they'll put you in a panel of several teachers. They'll scrutinize your lesson plan, and then if you pass that process, then you have to go back and do like a practical, which basically it sounds so ridiculous from what it was described to me, but basically these 4 teachers now reenact, like based on what grade level you're going to teach at, they reenact a certain tough day. So you literally have these adults acting like little kids. And how are you going to alternate, make your plan dynamic so that you can account for the behaviors while still adhering to the plan that you've set forth? So then there's that. So it's a process in which they like not only see how proficient you are at your job, but also how you're going to act under pressure. But it's ridiculous. I mean, how can you do it with a straight face? So does that make me nervous to some degree? Yeah. Like if at the current job that I had, I mean, it was just one person. I sat there, I talked to them. I was a little nervous, but I became really at ease really fast once I realized, that this was going to be a much simpler process. But it really just depends, right? Like if you're really good at what you do and you're just meeting with one person, you know, you're gonna go through what you do. You're gonna do the handshake, and you're gonna know whether you got it or don't, and that's that. But I think it just depends, right?
Yeah, no, it does depend
absolutely.
because there have been some jobs that I've actually have interviewed for that I did get nervous for. You know, asterisks on that, no. But like if it's usually for my field, I don't get nervous. Like that one that I just talked to you guys off air that I get interview next week. The phone interview went great because I wasn't nervous. I was asking them the questions.
Yeah,
I took control of that one.
That's good.
But I had interviewed for another company, another GC that I really wanted to work for that did soundproofing for studios and a bunch of different recording places and all that, and movie theaters and things like that. I really wanted to do that because it was a specialty and it's something that would have been good for us later on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to do that, but I knew nothing of what they were, and they gave me like a crash course. So I was like, yeah, I bombed that one. It was my fault. I bombed it. I got nervous. I didn't know what the hell I was doing because it's totally outside of my field.
Right.
I think it's like I don't get nervous anymore because there's a mentality that I figured out.
Big dick energy.
Big dick.
Big dick.
No comment. No, when you sit in front of somebody for an interview, you're literally trying to sell yourself. And
You whore.
the thought process that I received is like, I don't care what this person thinks of me. Like, and I know that that's bad in an interview, but it has like kind of liberated me to be myself. So if they are going to hire me, they're going to hire me for me, not because I'm worried about like what image I'm putting out. And I think too often, like we go and, you know, like if you don't get the job, you can have that sense of rejection. And like society is all predicated off of like rejection, and so many people have a fear of rejection that it causes that anxiety. But like if you can just get to that place where you're like, you know what, I don't give a crap what this dude thinks of me. If he likes me, he likes me, you know, and you just kind of have that freedom, you will cure a lot of anxiety. It's crazy because even relationships work like that.
It depends on the field that you're in, though. Like I know people who are who, like for example, pastry chefs and cooks. Like, you know, these are people who've trained many years for what they do and they're good at it. But every single time you leave one restaurant to a new one, it's like you're doing it from scratch. Even though you may have like a portfolio of stuff, and maybe word of mouth works a lot in your favor, but generally speaking, the personalities that you're interviewing with might affect how you go into that, and so you may go into that very nervous. It's so, you know, one person will, like, you meet like a owner of, like, let's say a few like high end restaurants. They'll be like really great, and they'll tell you what they want, and it'll go well. But from what it was described is that the next person that you meet might just be like a fluke. They don't even know what they're doing, and they're going to sit there and scrutinize you. And so I just think it's a mixed bag. It just depends on the type of field that you're in. Something a little bit more specialized like that. I imagine that like doing something like IT work, it's not as cutthroat. You either have the qualifications and the hours, so you can go in there with the confidence that you're going to do that job or whatever. It depends. I mean, and
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes sense. You know, when I was younger, I did a lot of like acting jobs. And so,
What kind of acting?
Thank you,
it was,
Jared, asking the real questions.
Where's your portfolio?
just
Wait a minute. What's the quote on the website
what's the link?
what's the
Mandingo?
Quote? Yeah,
I just came from a Mandingo party.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
why.
I'm not telling you how I got the invitation. I'm just telling you I came from one. Okay.
And then he got here.
Now, how many cups were there?
How many what?
How many cups were there? 2?
But there was one girl. No, wait. What is it?
One cup.
Oh.
One cup. One cup. 2 girls.
Oh, that is. Why did you remind me of that?
Oh,
That is,
Squid Squad.
it's Squid.
no, there's
Squid
no
Squad.
Squid Squad in that out of my brain. I am scarred for life from that crap.
Yep. Oh man, I remember that. Like I remember sitting around the computer, like my friend, hey, check this out. Come here. It was like actually one of my work buddies from Farmers Insurance that I used to work at.
Work buddy.
He's all, come here, check this out. And I'm like, all right, cool. What's up? I'm doop. I'd go over there, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what are you showing me?
I couldn't have frozen yogurt for like a year.
Oh
So
man.
that's awful.
I was at
That's
work.
so awful.
Yeah, I was working at a movie studio. They were doing like
2 girls, 1 cup. The movie
the sequel.
starring Marissa Tomei.
Is that what-
And Jason Schwartzman has the cup.
Jason Schwartzman has the cup.
one of
You
those
got a
acting
script?
gigs he had.
There's a script. swear to God, there's a script. No.
Special guest star, fucking Owen Wilson as the fucking
Turd.
Wow.
You know, now,
Wow.
I'm gonna say
Wow.
the name of the movie studio because it's no longer around, and when I say it, it's not gonna help. The name of the movie studio was Freak Nation.
Wait, what? Say it again.
Freak Nation.
Freak Nation. It was a it was like an extreme. It was a extreme sports studio.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So they
What
did
kind of-
lots
Yeah,
of
sport.
What kind of sports?
the
Sport.
best kind
The
sport.
squirt sport.
Squirt sport.
Squirt sport.
Squid squad.
Let's just more, guys. Let's just more.
Squid squad.
Squid squirt.
Squid squirt.
Squirt sport. Squirt sport.
Oh man.
You guys ever seen a squid squirt?
Thank God no.
I mean, yeah. You know, I've been to an aquarium. I mean, it's not as salacious as it sounds.
I think George just came up. He's about to get fired. Let's watch.
Oh man.
He's
let's-
walking in the
let's,
door. He's walking
Say
slowly
nothing.
in.
Say nothing.
He's closing the
Pretend
door.
like he's not here.
And then he's got a beanie on that makes him look like an eraser. He's walking in. He's walking around
He
Enrique.
looks
He's
10
in
times
between
older
Jerry
than the
and
last
George.
time we saw him.
He looks pudgy, but that's okay. And then he's putting his headphones on. And
Dad, like,
the first
what
words
do you
are,
What?
turn it on,
Okay.
turn it on, turn it on. And his first words are,
It is on.
oh, you're just low.
I said, Dad, life will do that to you.
Well, we want to tell you something. We've been waiting to tell you.
Have you met our new HR chair? He's got to talk to you about some stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
On air. This is
On air.
this is necessary.
Mr. Jer, take it away.
I want to emphasize how important is attendance here.
Like, you just
You're
got
fired. Yeah,
here. Be like,
that's all I got. No, attendance is
That's all
very
he's got.
important. Very important, George, and you need to be on time. Will not be tolerated further, and this is your first warning.
Where's the paper?
Oh,
This is
man.
a verbal warning.
This is a verbal.
Next time
I want
you
him
get
to
bring
sign
up-
that means it doesn't exist.
Next time will be oral. I mean,
Yikes. Squid squad.
good squad. Hey, Georgie, welcome.
Welcome.
What's up?
Let us
Okay.
fill you in on the.
Yeah, you know what? Cochinos, man. Come on. Just get it out of your system by now.
George, you've been
And
here
let's
enough.
get-
You know what's going on in here.
I know.
Okay, the subject is anti-work.
Yeah.
And
Or old jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your?
Have
old
you
job,
ever been
George?
fired, George, is the question that we
Fired?
want to know.
like,
No.
this one time on
But
air.
apparently I've abandoned my job before.
You've abandoned
Besides this podcast, anywhere else you've been fired?
What else have you abandoned besides this
It
podcast?
can't be worse, right? How much worse can it get than what you did here today?
Screw you guys.
Now that's the appropriate response. Screw you guys.
I'm going
Fuck
home.
you. Fuck you.
You know how I said, has anyone ever had an FU firing? George just had one right
He
now.
just had it right. He's all, fuck you guys, I'm out.
No,
Like, is it too late to ask for my job back?
but no, sir. All kidding aside. So,
Take a lot
have
of
you ever been fired?
dedication and hard work, George. A lot of dedication.
Have you ever been fired from anywhere, or had just a shitty job that you fucking wanted to quit from?
Besides this one.
No, I've never been fired.
No, always quit.
Always walked away. But like I said, apparently I've abandoned the job.
When was this?
The one before this one.
Really?
All right.
He's not lying.
Did they?
I mean,
did they,
technically
like,
speaking, that's what they considered it.
they'd like not allow you to get unemployment.
No, I mean, I really wasn't attempting to get unemployment or anything like that. But because they're all like, oh, they sent me a packet and then it said, you should apply. So I was like, well, I mean, I don't think it would apply because to me, I thought I quit.
Yeah.
So freaking, I went ahead and said, well, you know what, fuck it. Like I haven't worked for like 2 or 3 weeks. Let me just go ahead and see if I can get those given to me. And they're all like, okay, unemployment hit me up, and they're all like, let me go ahead and contact
them.
And they're all like, well, according to them, you abandoned your job. I was like,
Wow.
oh yeah.
That's what
It's
they
like,
say,
right?
huh?
So
Yeah, that Doyle.
when I was asked, like, so what's the status, blah, 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 and I told them, like, oh, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and hang up my hat. Basically, I'm going to quit,
Yeah.
you know? but according to them, I
You
abandoned
abandoned
my
the shop.
post.
Okay.
Okay, I follow
Don't say the name of the company, but does it rhyme with freeze?
No,
No.
no, I actually left on
Good
good
terms?
terms with them. Whereas even right now, but the last time, because I had worked there like 2 times previous,
Yeah.
and both times they basically told me, if anything happens, come on back.
So next recording back at Freeze. I mean, Reese. I mean, jeez.
Frosty Freeze.
Ricky's.
Ricky.
Where the wood smells delicious.
It is Pride Month.
Oh.
What's that smell like?
Oh, whoa.
Okay.
Yikes.
Basil's balls. That's what it smells like.
Okay, forget all that.
Vinegary and
I've been
what
waiting
was-
for
Raspberry
George to
vinaigrette.
get here because there is a job that I want to talk about.
Okay.
We were selling stuff door to door, and I don't know if anybody
boy.
out there has ever sold stuff door to door.
What were you
Nope.
selling?
It was
His
direct
body.
merchandising, and we were getting all of our products from China.
China. And
Wait,
how-
wait. What's the
what kind of
product?
quality was it? Was
The
it?
product changed every week. Like,
So, were you guys the
ran
guys
with
who had
something
like?
for a week full on?
You guys were the ones that would show up to the door with like the
With a
little
box.
water fountains and be like, "We're selling these water
Whatever-
fountains for
whatever it was.
$20 and
Yes.
stuff like
Check it
that."
out like this. You
Yes.
had a box that you had to carry under your arm, and basically it was a mystery box. Like, they didn't know what it was that you were trying to sell them. They just knew that you came, knocked on the door, and they'd open it up. And sometimes they wouldn't. They would tell you, "Get the fuck on," and you'd have to go.
Sometimes.
What
Right.
kind
That
of
was a daily
Sometimes?
occurrence.
what kind of gypsies
Was it-
did you work for?
Was it like
Jesus.
Chopped, like that Food Network Chopped, where you would open the basket and be like, "Oh, it's a phone," like all confused.
Right.
This
Nah,
is not what they
you
said
would
we were
know-
selling.
You would know beforehand what it is that you were getting ready to pitch.
You had these great meetings where you would stand in a circle
And
and,
they would-
everyone would get fired up and hyped to go sell
Oh,
some stuff that they
God.
didn't really.
They would tell you to get juicy.
Yeah.
Hi, my name
Get
is
juicy?
Russell.
Yeah, you know what that stood for?
Uh,
Join us in creating excitement.
Juicy.
we have found our new motto for the podcast.
Let's get
juicy.
No.
Everybody,
That
Squid
song?
Squad,
No.
get juicy.
Get
no,
juicy.
no.
Squid Squad, get
No,
juicy.
I-
We would have to come up with
That's
a,
the name of this
putting
one.
I'm putting my. That is this episode's name for sure.
Yeah,
but
the
I-
episode's name is Get Juicy.
Get juicy, yes.
We would have to
putting my
add
foot
a
down.
yeah to the end of it.
You gotta
Otherwise,
make-
it makes no sense.
make
'Cause
sure you put
They
the-
only said juice, but if you want to say juicy, you have to add a yeah at the end of it. Join us in creating excitement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
that. I did that kind of job for one day. It was back in high school, right before I got actually, no, it was. Yeah, it was right before I got the McDonald's job, which was my first actual job. But for one day, I answered one of those, one of those the classified ads, and right there on, and
You answered the classifieds.
I
huh?
did, dude. I'm aging myself here.
Wanted. 18-year-old.
No, it
Barrel
said
Latino
opportunity,
male.
entrepreneurial, and make big money and all that bullshit. And I get to
Must
this.
have bleached asshole.
And tips.
Frosted tips.
Frosted tip.
Well, then I wouldn't have shown up because I'm Mexican. Have you seen the color of my skin? You know,
Okay, sorry.
I got the brownest of eyes, my friend.
Yeah, you got a brown eye, all right.
Yeah, continue with the story.
Your resume doesn't match our needs, but we'll give you a shot.
Literally.
Pass. No, I ended up going to this thing, and I'm waiting around with like 3 other people, and then they give us like this satchel and like, all right, let's go. They drive us out into like Boyle Heights, and we're basically the assholes that go up and down to the different stores selling like exactly what you guys were selling, like shit from like China or something.
I guess we were those a-holes, George.
And I did this for a whole day, dude. And the whole time I was just like, when can I go home? I'm stuck out here. I just want to go home. And dude, the second I got him there, man, you did great. We can't wait to see him. I'm like, yeah. I didn't. Fuck that, man.
So
Did not show up.
Did you abandon
me
your job?
and George were
abandoned my
not
job,
as
man.
smart as
Fuck that
Enrique.
place.
We
All right.
stayed for months.
Let them relocate
Okay.
us to San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I got questions. I've got a lot of questions.
I got 2 of
Okay,
those under my belt,
Wait,
guys. 2 of those.
so the relocation, did they pay for it?
Technically,
Okay. Did they pay you a salary or was it by commission?
pay.
I did
Everything
pay.
it was commission.
Everything was commission based,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
We were basically drug
And
dealers
And that's
without
why
drugs.
and that's why I said like, pay. They didn't pay to relocate us.
I wore out a nice pair of dress shoes walking up and down the streets like a streetwalker.
They
Got
said,
my box.
They said you needed fucking suit.
So that was you on Figueroa.
I mean, hey, wherever they're gonna pay for whatever I got in this box.
End of the day, Jason hears, "Where's my money?"
Where's my money?
I
Bitch,
won't
better have
buy
my money.
Super Soup.
Dude, some people are built for that life though. There was
Oh, yeah.
this one guy, his name was JP.
Oh, legend.
Fucking legend. This guy, he wanted to go ahead and so basically when you first get there, they want to go ahead and introduce you to their top sellers, obviously, because then they want to hopefully recreate another top seller. So when I got there, they were sending me out with different people, trying to basically say, pick their brain, learn what they do, blah, blah, blah. One day I went out with JP, and JP was basically, where was JP from? Like,
He was from Mexico.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Juan
So-
Pablo was his name.
But like
JP.
JP.
Get the fuck out of here.
No,
He
everybody
was
called
always
him
talking
JP.
about like, hey, papa.
Yeah.
So short, skinny little fool. But this fool would be able to talk anybody into buying anything. And to prove his point, he picked up a fucking dog from the street that didn't belong to him. And he sold the motherfucker.
Legitimately picked up a random dog, like a little chihuahua that he saw on the street, and sold it. He traded some stuff that we were supposed to be selling. He got this dog, and then he went somewhere else and sold the dog.
Where's JP now?
Yeah.
Probably a billionaire somewhere chilling in Mexico.
He changed his name to JB and then Jeff Bezos.
Adios, turd nuggets.
You can see me.
Chinga su madre, it's mine. So, okay, so that was one guy. Well, who was the
There
worst?
was this crazy Jamaican guy.
Oh, we had so many characters. Literally, we don't want to tell you too much because we may actually turn that into like
Something?
a
Yeah.
YouTube short or a sitcom one day, because the stories we got to tell you from that job are so outrageous you wouldn't even believe them.
Is it going to be called Get Juicy?
No, definitely
Juicy.
Juicy.
not. Be called. Never mind, I can't say that. Non-disclosure. You got to sign this. Sign this
All
piece
right,
of paper.
so we've all had shitty jobs. My question to you guys now is, the way the I would say the stock market, the work is right now, the job market. Do you guys think it's time to go back to unions as it used to be, or just keep it as is and squash the unions? Because there's a lot of companies out there that are not like paying living wages.
Hey, we're screwed.
So-
just throwing that out there right
no,
now. We're
I
screwed. Yeah, we're screwed.
1,000% agree.
I mean, you know, from a historical standpoint, unions were a reason why we were able to not have child labor in factories. But look what happens.
Coming back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know all the talking points against unions, and there's truth to them, of course. I mean, I think the past 70 years you saw corruption and stuff within it. I mean, that's true. But I think generally speaking, unions
Better with them than without them.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because if
just
you
need a
allow
way.
people, if you allow companies, corporations to make decisions on the behalf of their workers, they're not always going to do it with the best interest of the workers. They're always going to do it the best interest of their bottom line. I mean that, and you can't blame them for that because that's capitalism, and that's that's the prerogative of the company to
Yeah.
make money. But they're not going to make good decisions on your behalf, and a union is there to protect you from that if it's run well. And so you, as an employer, need and a participant of the union, have to also be vigilant of that union to make sure that they're keeping your best interest as well.
I like
Right,
that
it's-
caveat you threw in there. If it's ran well.
It's like Jer said earlier. He said all depends on the union, which is true because I've seen some really shitty unions out
Yes,
there.
sir.
You know, there's some great unions, but there's some really shitty ones. Writers Guild, I think, is a great union. They're always fucking going up to bat. Directors Guild is also pretty good. The
Teachers
the SAG,
unions are really
teachers
good.
unions are really good. Some of the dock workers are pretty good.
Dock workers, iron workers. Are
Iron
really
workers
well.
are iron workers are amazing.
Yeah.
What is
So
it?
I-
Local
I heard
22.
I heard a
I'm
rumor.
not sure, but
You
they're
can
probably one of
enlighten
the
me since you're in the
better
field.
unions.
I hear that it's hard for
Out there for a
unions
pimp. Oh.
to go ahead and get rid of a bad teacher, that they'll just move them around.
No, that's not true.
No? Okay.
No, that's
Um,
bullshit. That's a talking point.
If that was
I'm
the
true,
glad
truth
to
of-
know that we've debunked this.
The truth is that
Great
bad
work, George.
teachers will. Yeah, great work. Investigative journalism at its finest. So
We've done it, everybody. We can go home now. Thank you. Good night.
Catholic priest are in the union.
Whoa.
Yikes.
I guess George could have his job back.
I'm bringing you riveting stuff here.
Teachers can and always can get fired for being bad at what they do, and it's easy to tell when a teacher is bad. The real issue right now is demand for teachers, and it's high, and unfortunately,
But the pay's so fucking low, dude. You guys don't get enough.
Yeah.
Enough at all.
Yeah.
Not even close to what you guys deserve.
Yeah, but I mean, it's even a bigger issue because it's not always like. Oftentimes, good teachers are put into bad districts with bad admins, and then they become bad teachers by proxy because of what is expected of them. And the unions are there to try to make sure that they can talk through that noise and maybe work that out.
Right.
But it's difficult. But the easiest talking point is bad teachers will just get moved around. It's an easy talking point because then it goes into the education system's broken. I mean, I've had a conversation with somebody years ago, and she was talking all this shit about what is wrong with teachers, and here I am, a teacher, and I'm there, and my opinion didn't even matter because as much as I was trying to debunk some of the things she was saying, all that mattered was her perception of what bad teachers are and what bad at the end of the day, I think a good union will be able to protect the best interests of those teachers, and so it's much more difficult to fire.
What I've learned about teachers in their union, every school has good teachers, bad teachers, and a-hole teachers.
Sure.
And
those that gave up.
And those that gave up and are just there to collect a check, and those usually just roll the TV in the classroom. And
Why are you
just
looking at Enrique?
What?
Stop looking at Enrique, dude.
What? Squid squad. Anyway, yeah, every school is made up of that combination, and it sucks because I think, like you're saying, Enrique, the good teachers, they don't get what they deserve. They should be getting paid more, but it's hard because when you have the school, you can only base the pay off of the results of the entire
paid something similar to people within the medical field.
Yes.
Because what I've heard, which I agreed with, was wow, somebody in the medical field can save your life. A good teacher can freaking save that kid, basically.
Right his course.
Exactly.
Okay, here's a question for you, Enrique. As a teacher, would you think it was fair to judge teaching off of success rate? So if you have a class of 30 kids and all your kids pass, you get an A, an A plus. And so if you're a teacher and half of your class fails, then you're a crappy teacher and your pay should reflect that. Is that would that be a fair
Can
thing?
I chime in on this as a
assessment?
non-teacher?
Sure.
So I would think then you would just have teachers passing everybody. I mean, it would have to go a little bit deeper.
That's
than
my
that.
point.
It would have to be, some sort of, workshop or something within the classroom that showed that they were understanding what was being taught and everything else. And another point.
There's a simple solution for that. The teachers have to show their work.
Okay, so that's a lot to work with. Okay, so the truth of it is that judging success of a student is difficult in what a parent wants for their kid and versus what is measurable. See, that's the thing that's often overlooked in these is that teachers are measured by success, and those measures come from assessments. They come from observations. Things don't just a teacher's just not there saying, okay, pass, fail. I mean, sure, they can do that, but they're not. I mean, a good principal, a good vice principal is going to be on top of that, making sure that those assessments are accurate and they're legit. And then factor in even more a more observed program like special education, which is what I'm part of, and there's IEPs. IEP stand for Individualized Education Plans. That's the reason why I was late because I had a meeting from 3 to 4 specifically that, and then that is a legal document in which I have to indicate performance levels of reading, math, writing, and I mean you should see this. This is like a 12-page report that I prepare, and then I distill that into a document called the IEP. And so all that aside, measuring a student's success is difficult if you're saying you want to please everybody. because what I want for a student is different from what a parent wants. And obviously what a parent wants is important for sure, because the parent wants their kids to succeed in grades. But once we measure it, let's say that I measure a student and I say, okay, he's reading at a 6th grade level and he should be at a 10th grade level. The parent is not going to want anything less than their kid being at grade level.
Yeah.
Right. But I've already assessed this kid at the beginning. And so my goal is to try to get him to as close to that as possible. The problem that happens, though, is that I don't always achieve that.
Yeah.
Now, by the parent's measure, I failed, right? Because the parent wants them to be at grade level. I'm trying to get them there, but I'm trying to get him based off of what he was initially assessed. And if you're reading at the 6th grade level, and to get him to grade level is not easy, because you're having to make up for years and years of it could be maybe neglect, or maybe just that the kid wasn't prepared. He was learning at a different level. Maybe there's a underlying
any other variable.
Right. And so when it comes down to it, that's tough. That's the reason why it's tough, guys. So if you just measured based off of test scores, which unfortunately is what they try to do, like this whole argument began from 20 years ago, where it was all based on test scores. And it's based on, and everything was moved towards judging teachers by test scores, and people were getting fired because of that. That's not.
Kids are all different, though.
Yes, sir.
Right, and that's like judging the fish, how by the way it climbs a tree.
Yes.
Like, it just doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
And I completely understand where you're coming from, like with the IEPs. My son has autism, so I'm familiar with everything you just talked about.
Right.
And we actually had to go through the process of changing ours because we had an assessment that we felt was wrong.
Okay.
And every single person agreed with us. So,
cool. Yeah.
So it was like, the parent wants, but the parents have to be proactive in being able to achieve what they want for their child as well.
That's true.
And a lot of times, like, it's unfortunate, but you don't have, the mom, you don't have the parents at home that are going to be able to, push
Dedicate
the
the
child
time.
and dedicate the time and the energy and everything else it takes to show them, the proper way to do things.
Yes,
the proper
and
way to
so
go about things.
if I can just add this part to that, that's where a good teacher that genuinely cares about their kid will advocate for the parents as best as they can in those instances. I can give you a quick example. Today I had a really smooth IEP, right? This is a kid I've been working with since 2016, and he's made progress. And so what happened was, I had a different student a few weeks ago who had we had to reconvene 3 times because they have an advocate. An advocate is basically like a lawyer. And this person was asking really like dumb questions, but the whole purpose of the advocate is to try to catch you like off guard. So example, I did a vocational assessment for this. This student is about to like get to the age where maybe they want to learn some job skills. And so as part of the vocational assessment, I indicated, well, the kid's ready to maybe do like washing dishes, washing windows, maybe like help clean up around the school, essentially saying that he's ready to start doing some type of like menial labor because it's a skill that he can learn in order to get into the work field. The advocate then turns around and says, so are you saying that that's the only thing they can do? And it's like, no, that's not a glass window wall that I put there. This is just a thing that we can try to teach them now, so we can teach them how to work, and then this isn't the end. But you see, that's what happens. And so in those instances, I think that a good parent will then will advocate for their student or their kid. They will ask the right questions, and if they disagree, which is absolutely the providence of an IEP, then as a team we try to work through it and stuff, and hopefully it's the best interest.
Let me
of
ask
the
you a
kid.
question. Have you come across your field right now in school being politicized yet? Has it gotten to that? Have you gotten the wingers? Which what I mean by the wingers is left, right. Where they're like, the woke over here, or the fucking.
No, I have to admit that I haven't. I mean, maybe from a staff level, like there's some staff, but it doesn't really. If you're asking like on an administrative level, not really.
Like where they tell you can't do this, you can't do this.
Oh, I see what you're asking. Are we restricted in what we teach and stuff?
Yeah. Are you being restricted?
No. But I want to say that 2 years ago we did have it was interesting because we had a person from O.U.C.H come down who was specifically a person who was trained in LGBTQ issues and was talking about those at an educational level and how to approach certain situations and being open-minded and open-ended when trying to advocate for students in that field. And so that was the closest we've come to that. But I haven't seen that representative again since. So who knows?
Just curious.
Good
I
question.
just want to say that we have failed society when you can't just say, hey, this kid's going to be a janitor and that's all he's going to be. This is the reason why people don't want to work these days. Because we have been limited from telling people what they really are.
I say it as a joke, but I always laugh at my kids' school because their whole model, their whole shtick is that basically we are building the future leaders, and everyone, they're like, there's a leader in me. That's like their thing they're supposed to say.
Crap. Not
and I'm like,
everybody's a
wait,
leader.
not everyone's a leader. If everyone's a leader, there's no leaders.
There's no one to follow.
They're just people screaming at each other.
That's very like Ayn Rand philosophy there. Like it's all like that's the idea that there's a function for everybody, and then that's the most you're gonna. I don't know that the whole self-interest.
No.
thing-
I'm not saying that person has to settle for what they're being told. I'm saying that as a society, we can't say that.
Yeah.
If I can't say you're a janitor and that's all you're going to be, and you can't prove me wrong, then that leaves a whole level of.
I'm sorry, sanitation engineer. Go on.
Janitor, if you want to be a dick about it.
Custodian,
Custodial services.
custodial arts.
Custodial arts, my
There
bad.
you go.
Custodial arts.
Look, somebody's got to clean the toilets, and it's only sad if life ends up being like you think that you're going to be.
Hydrothrone.
You think you're going to be a president? Your whole life you've been told you're going to be the president, and then now all of a sudden you're a janitor. You're going to feel real disappointed and real let down in your life. But if all your life I told you were a janitor
Hey,
from
man.
day one.
They make good money though.
They
He
do.
is
They
the
make great
president
money.
of the custodial.
That's what I'm saying. You could be the president of the janitors.
Yeah, hey man, as long as you get a living
like
wage, dude.
The porcelain throne.
As long as you make a living wage, seriously, because there's some jobs out there that you might be all fancy schmancy, but you go home and you're living in a little studio apartment, paying $2,400 and eating ramen noodles because you can't afford shit.
Hence, every job and everything in California right now because we can't afford nothing.
Dude, I can't even afford McDonald's. I
That's
can't
what I'm
afford anything
saying.
right now. It's crazy.
Look, I went to college and I thought, like, oh yeah, you go to college, you can make a life
so
for
you
yourself.
college educated.
Yeah, I is.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I is.
Throw that around,
now?
huh?
Yeah, I'm throwing that around.
Flaunt it.
Listen, I didn't go to all those classes and cheat my way to an AA degree just to sit here and listen to this down talking from use, huh?
You're like, well, you
I
know
see
what?
your AA
You know what
and I
else you
raised
have
you
that I don't have?
ASS.
No,
Jared's got an ASS.
all jokes
At
aside,
least
like,
you don't have a BS.
I got farther in life when I did.
UMF.
Yes, I am an MF actually. Actually, it's MS.
No, I used to think like, oh, when I finish my degree or whatever, I'm gonna get somewhere in life and it's gonna propel me to go forward in the future. And then like now with the way that like everything costs, you can't afford nothing. Nothing.
It sucks.
So in
Doesn't
LA, the statistic is something like 80% now is going towards living expenses when it should be like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so, but right now,
ridiculous.
like statistics is 80%, and then if I just heard this morning, and then for like the secondary thing is you would think it's food and stuff like that, but no, it's what was it?
Weed.
How
Auto
do
expense. It's got to be an auto expense or something. It's California.
yeah,
Gas.
cars.
Yeah, I believe it might be.
Yeah.
I believe it might be. I'd have to check it, but the
I
bigger
believe
numbers, 80%. Where you don't have anything else to work with after you're paying 80% to
Yeah.
where you live.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's why my answer was weed, because that is the only way you can deal with this BS. No, it's not.
They did,
Get out of
Jason.
California.
They did say gas.
Didn't say gas. If you are on that gas right now, and I'm not talking about that methane.
Write to us at info@ouchcast.com.
So I have a question for you guys. I mean, because you guys have noticed that after COVID, like a lot, like the way people look at jobs change. I mean, you hear this all the time, right?
Yeah.
This is on the headlines now. Here in America, you have the what is it called? The quiet quitting?
Quiet quitting, yeah.
Yeah, and then in Japan, you have something called lying flat. I think is a term. And I'm sorry, not Japan, China. Lying flat, and the UK is also doing the quiet quitting. So basically, some of our bigger world powers are looking at work, and they're like, I quit. I don't want to do this job or do the bare minimum. That's happening. So for
Because
you
they're
guys,
pushing for that. What is it? The government funded
No,
just
I don't.
universal-
I don't.
So
I don't think-
universal income?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I don't think it's that. I think
FBI?
I think it's a matter of like, dude, you're working your ass off for ingrates for let's say $300 a month, and then you can't even fucking cover your expenses with that. You gotta get a second job and a third job. There's no security whatsoever
Right, but
for
how
a
much
company that.
While
We
I
can
agree
tell
that
you, like
that's
you said the
there,
other, what was it? You actually, who's like, hey, we got to review what your hours are, what your tasks
Yeah.
are, and then just drop you for no reason whatsoever. But
I
you are
agree.
expected. Well, not you, George, because you always walk out on all your jobs. But everyone else, you're expected to have a 2-week notice, right?
Abandoned.
Abandoned. My
He
my
quiet
apologies.
quit, bitch.
Quiet
Come
quit.
on.
No, but you know, you're expected to give 2 weeks notice. Hey, by the way, I fucking hate you guys, so I'm leaving in 2 weeks.
They're like,
Get the
we
fuck
noticed
outta
for the
here."
last 2 weeks you haven't been here.
Oh yeah, that's my notice. I quit.
Oh, you noticed.
You
How did
noticed, huh? I quit.
So one thing that I heard it and it really stuck with me, and through 2020 everything else was the fastest way to get a raise is to get a new job. Like,
Yes.
it's the easiest.
100%. 100%.
1,000%.
That's exactly what
I have
happened to me.
experience in that, and that's true.
It's 100%.
I'm getting paid more now.
I'm right there with you.
When I fought with that one company, the shitty company that was underpaying me, my next job, it paid me $25,000 more a year.
That's interesting
The
because
Same
year
boat,
after,
same
the one
boat.
after that,
Exact same boat right
another
there.
5,000, another 5. Every single time the increments keep going up.
yes,
Right
yeah.
now I'm making a certain amount, but the funny part is a little footnote. About 4 months ago, I got an email from a recruiter telling me that they were sent by the company that should not be named that had fired me originally, wanted to know if I was interested in going back.
Nice.
And I wrote back saying not for $1 million, but good luck to you.
Hey,
In no uncertain terms, go to hell.
basically.
At
There
the
wa-
bottom there, you put kindest regards. Now go fuck yourself.
There, there's it's something that I actually recently read as well or heard. A lady was working at this one particular job where she
Was her name Gaga?
probably yeah. No. She asked for a raise, and it was a reasonable raise for the services that she's doing for this job, and they said flat out no, we can't pay you that. So when she looked online because they were hiring for similar positions in her company, they were offering starting pay $20,000 more than what she was making, and she was only asking for like something like a 3% or 5% raise or something like that, which would have been what, 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
Did she apply to that job?
She applied to that job while working
That's
at the
what's
same
up.
job.
That's what's
and
up.
they called her back, and because it was a different department handling it, they were going to hire, but they said, "But wait a minute, I'm already working. So just give me the raise and let me do the job." And they're like, "Oh no, we can't do that." So it was a back and forth thing. So and that turned into this big investigation that's still happening right now. But that your guys' stories isn't that unique. It's happening. So
It sucks though.
what does
'cause I
that
mean,
say about the people who give out money? They just don't want to pay you, or what? How are they calculating this shit? I don't understand.
They're not. They're basically saying it's tough out there. Be grateful you have a job.
That's 2008 mentality too,
Yeah,
right? Like
it's 100%.
Be
The
grateful
bubble
you have a
cross-
job,
It's like-
and 2 people. You can do
thought-
the job for 3 people.
That's why
Yeah.
we quit.
The thought is, I got you for
Babe.
that amount of money, and now I can't get anybody else for that amount of money, so I got to get somebody else for the upgraded or updated amount.
Yeah.
So, but you stay where you are because we're not trying to give you that.
And then corporations are like, "Oh, you guys are not allowed to speak about salaries between yourselves." It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that in California you can.
You can. Yeah. No, fuck that.
That was
Oh,
one
I
of the
would if I could.
first-
If they told me I couldn't, I'd do it anyway. We always did.
It's always.
Everybody-
I would tell them,
But-
"Can you have that in writing?"
The problem though is that it's ingrained in people that not to do it. So like people are embarrassed to ask. Like when
they
I
are.
was working, I was trying to sort of get a feel for how much people make because I wanted us to make sure that all the teachers and stuff were making similar amount. Squid Squad. All right. So so at the end of the day, like people were embarrassed to say. But had they said something, we could have like bandied together when it came time to make those raises because
Yeah.
they were negotiating. We could have said something, but
Divide and conquer, my friend. Divide and conquer.
divide and conquer.
Hey Jason, when was the last time you got a raise?
In my pants.
When George walked in.
George walked in.
Yikes.
Robo chubby.
Robo.
It looks like a Rolo.
For anyone out there who needs help
With
with,
the
an
caramel dripping
interview, because it is graduation season, so all these people are going to enter the workforce. If an interviewer asks
You
you
said
your
enter.
name, just tell them your name is hired. And when they go, "You're hired," you go, "Thank you," and walk them out. Just get out of there. Just leave.
Shake. You gotta shake. You gotta be mid shake hand when you do that because that way it's a binding contract
He said,
in some
"What?
states.
What's your name?" Hired. You're hired. Thank you, sir. And
Walk
just
out.
leave and just walk out. I'm telling you, do it once in your life. You'll never regret it.
Jared, thank you for joining us in this wonderful, short episode. It seems like it.
Story of my life.
We gotta have you back.
You have to come back, dude.
You gotta come
Definitely.
back. Yeah,
Do
definitely.
it. Do it.
Maybe we can do something a little bit different than work.
Definitely.
We can
Definitely.
do we can do an
talking
episode
about
on
it.
Happy Gilmore and have Jerry back.
Yeah, we can do a whole
I can
deep dive on
I'll
that.
recite the entire movie for
All right,
you.
don't bring up Jurassic Park.
Or
Okay.
that one either. Oh God.
George,
I don't even.
anything
like
anything to say to the crowd for the 20 minutes you were here?
Woo! Glad you enjoyed it. And
R.I.P.
you better
Iron Sheik.
freaking like it. Oh, I know, huh?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Sheik.
Fucking bullshit. Enrique?
Ouch.
Okay. Jared, anything to say?
Suck nuts and lick butt. See
Okay.
you later.
Doyle?
That's hard to follow, but I'm trying to quit my job. So go to www.ouchcast.com and buy a T-shirt because that will help me do that.
Follow
sooner.
us on Patreon.
So, follow us on Patreon,
Discord.
join the Discord,
Instagram?
and Instagram. We are also doing other stuff.
TikTok.
But are we on TikTok?
We're on TikTok.
Our TikTok is actually pretty live.
Yeah,
compared
I use it.
especially compared to the Discord. But you can live chat with us during the Discord. So
We won't answer, but you can live chat.
I mean, yeah, you should. If I got a notice, maybe I'd check it once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Got any merch? Got
Love
any
you
merch
guys.
with you?
Squad.
With Doyle's luck, this is the one episode his boss listened to.
I know, right?
I would never tell him about this show.
I feel the same way about my.
I know better.
I'm like I got some people that I work with, and I'm like I tell people like hey, I do this, but generally speaking, I try not to put too much attention because I don't want to get fired. Don't fire me.
That part. I
Hey,
don't want
you don't say nothing bad. It's all me, and I don't work for you, so it's all right.
Who do you work for?
Nobody. I work for the Outcast
Who does number 2 work for?
For number one.
for number 1. And remember, never make eye contact while talking to Jerry. Have a good one.